Are you taking PCNSA or PCNSE exam? Are you behind or are you beyond the exam? Do you have certifications? Or you don't basically care about certifications because they are just labels? Are you going through dams? Are you basically reading the most guided PDF ever written by Palo Alto? Or are you basically reading anything? Are you Googling every single time? Do you have a lab at home? Do you basically have a place where you can fix and break things in your workplace? I want to know your feedback. How you basically view the vendor specific software. How you basically see what the vendor is. How you see what the vendor is telling you versus what you see yourself. Today we're going to talk about basically the two principles, the two policy principles that Palo Alto defines what they are. Okay. These terms are not new to you, but I'm going to go through exactly because the same questions that I've asked you are the same questions I think everybody ask themselves when they're trying to retake the exam or when they're trying to support their customers about the service offering in their daily life, and when they're trying to troubleshoot things. Do you know the differences between implicit and explicit policy? Do you know where they are? Do you know how to basically find? Do you know which one is locked and which one is not locked? Can you modify and lock the one that is not locked? Do you know the differences between session N and session star? And what are the remedies? What are the risks that if you don't have ticked the right box? Do you know the differences between such a browser session and a traffic log? Your CFO and your CIO comes to you and say, oh, we want you to do some forensic analysis and traffic fingerprinting because we see XYZ are accessing something. Where you go and how you prove? Do you know that the traffic that go interzone through interzone and are denied by default and why? Can you modify this traffic and see exactly where the denies go? Can you modify the intra-zone traffic and lock and see exactly before you even allow traffic? Can you modify? I mean, those traffics are absolutely like predefined and everything is gray out. Can you see here? You can't basically click any box. You can't basically do any session N, session star. How do they basically do? Now, what they do, literally they don't log any traffic, but what they do, they automatically allow and they automatically deny. So traffic between interzone are automatically denied and traffic between intrazone are automatically allowed. But what's allowed? What if you really want to know what's allowed and what's denied? Don't you have the responsibility to say to your CFO and CIO that what is what, rather than just following what the vendor is telling you? Because the vendor can tell you anything. I'm not referring here that Palo Alto is wrong or right, but I'm just saying like you have the responsibility. Palo Alto is telling you 0-day trust. Trust but verify. Do not trust but verify. Obviously, how can you trust that basically whatever goes through the interzone should be automatically denied? And if you open it, okay, by default, this traffic is allowed by default. Do you really want to do that? Okay, do you want to override and follow exactly your method rather than following them? Okay, traffic between interzone are denied by default. Okay, I just told you these traffics are not locked, but you can see here, that's not true. I have modified this traffic, okay, because I want to see what goes through this deny by default. I want to see the implicit deny. Okay, let's get down the noises. There are two traffics. One is called implicit, predefined by Palo Alto, predefined by the software, and they are intrazone and interzone. These are predefined by Palo Alto software, depending on what version that you're using. Okay, so can you basically see the logs in this traffic through the web UI and through the CLI? No, you don't. Can you see this traffic through the web UI or CLI? No, you don't. However, you can modify. You can really modify, and I'm going to show you in a minute exactly. There is basically a way to modify. So in here, this is the CLI I've just underlined, which says basically that you can basically modify this traffic, okay, by going through this. So let me take this. You can modify this traffic by typing this log. All right, that will show you exactly what goes between the interzone and the intrazone. Okay, get the point? That's exactly how you basically modify. So also, if you basically point the mouse to the traffic name, you can see from predefined. They say from predefined. This one, it says overriding. What I have done, I modify this application, sorry, this policy, because I want to see what goes through it. So if I select this, if I select this, you can see I can modify the session. Okay, so it's now open to me. I can play with it. Okay, and the session is logged. If I basically do this, there is nothing I can do with it. Nothing. All right, so that means basically you have the ability to basically modify the stuff. If I basically go there and then say, okay, I want to select this one and I want to revert, okay, I'll show you. This will take me back to the previous stage. So now you can see it's predefined, and a predefined. Okay, so now we know the implicit traffic versus explicit. Let me go to we now know the predefined implicit traffic. Implicit. So the explicit traffic are traffic defined by the administrators, and they are, okay, these. At the moment, I've got 5 policies. All right, and they are here. The traffics are logged. It's available to you. The logs are available to you through the CLI and through web UI. Okay. Also, I want to also explain that basically the difference between session end and session start. Best practice is already been selected. Reason. Let me give you a practical reason. For example, if you basically do this, a user went to facebook.com and then he went to Facebook conferencing and then he went to Facebook chat. The user logged off from the session, it went off, and then your CIO, CFO came to you 2 months later that there must be an investigation because XYZ, went on. Okay? It doesn't matter what, something fishy went on. This user has to be investigated. You come back to your log, this was selected. You can only see facebook.com through the forensic analysis. You won't see the video conferencing, neither chat, basically session. It's gone. Get the point? So now, what does that mean? Application shift. The user went from application to application to application. So user went from facebook.com into Facebook video conferencing into Facebook chat. So the Facebook chat and the video conference is now missing from the log because the application has shifted automatically from one application to the next. So that means this is the best practice because this will log everything that user went through. So as soon as the session went off or session ended, the firewall will log and you see anything before that. Okay, another scenario that I'm going to talk about. So I talked about application implicit policy, explicit policy. which one is locked automatically after you have to tick the box, and which one is not locked, okay? And which one that is not locked but you can modify, and how you modify. I explained both of them. Second, I basically explained that the differences between session end and session start. Okay, I'm gonna now explain the differences between traffic logs. So I'm gonna compare session browser versus the traffic log. Your CFO came to you, okay, or CIO came to you, and it says something fishy is going on. We might be having something that is not right. We want to do some traffic or some forensic analysis, traffic forensic analysis and traffic fingerprinting, that we need to investigate and ascertain what is going on, to ascertain what's going on. Which one do you view? Do you really view the traffic log in here? Okay, and show your and fact pinpoint what's going on, or you go straight away into session browser. Which one will give you the live session? And what are the differences? Let's basically view first. In here, if I basically open this and I'm a session browser, you can see something here. Client to server, server to client. What does that show you? This is basically to show you the communication between the endpoints. The client is trying to access the server and the server is responding. This could give you some sort of like a live session. You also have a session ID as well here, 2010, not 2010. Okay, that's a year. So basically you can go to CLI and say show session ID 2010, and that will also open up a complete session activities through the CLI. In here, we understand that we can see the live session. So session browser shows us the live session in comparison to traffic log. The traffic log shows us more granular historical events. So let us say, for example, now you know this person is accessing source destination, but you want to find out, is it the first time they access something, or have they been accessing the same things before? All right, here you can basically go the historical fact. So what do you basically do? In here, you open up this session before I tell you how to filter the user. So in here, that you've got 3 columns or rows or whatever, 1, 2, 3. You've got general, source, and a destination. Source and destination is our most valid, important, because this is your traffic map. You're coming from somewhere and you're going somewhere. So this is the source, this is the destination. Okay, I'm now going Google. In here, the action was allowed. The session ID is this. The other session ID was 2010. This was 2034. Because every session has its own unique ID. Now, in here you can see the policy. Okay, host ID. What is the application? Is it DNS? Oh, that is great. Okay, it's a DNS. The rules, users to access the internet. Oh, great. That's important. Oh, wonderful. You also have the protocol, UDP. So this is not the SSH session. This is not basically TCP session. Okay, great. So the interface, the source interface, destination interface, the NAT IP, the port. Oh, that's cool. That's wonderful. What about if you really want to see, if you see the same sort of like the user, you want to filter now the user, you've seen the user here, okay, and you want to, okay, or in any, you want to filter the user. So what do you see? Say user in here. So user.source and you say equal, and basically you put username, okay, dot username at example.com, and you basically close practices. You basically close the bracket, and you also put quotation as well. Username, okay, start and the end. In this way, you only specifying that user and you can filter that user. That will show you exactly, it will pop up here, the source user will be here. So now you have where the user is coming from, where the user is basically going to. Its IP address, his or her IP address, the user identifiable, who is the user, who they say they are. The dynamic group, if there's a dynamic group, the destination address, or the source dynamic group, the destination dynamic group, dynamic group user, okay, the port, the application, the action, and you see everything. Okay, so it's been a 15 minutes plus. I'm gonna recap. Are you doing PCNSA? Are you taking PCNSA or PCNSA exam? Are you basically beyond PCNSC or PCNSA? Or are you behind? Have you ever done any? Have you ever taken any certification? Do you have current certification, active certifications, or have you got some that have been expired? You want to renew them? Do you know the difference between explicit role and implicit role? Do you know the session end and session start? Do you know the difference between the live session and more historical session? Do you know the shadowing roles? Very important. If I go to policy, I'm going to show you the shadowing roles. So, for example, we have an application that goes, the policy that goes to the internet. This policy basically allows user to access to the internet, okay? Allow hosts in users and net zone to access internet. Okay, now, say for example, I have another policy below here. So I'll show you in a minute. This one, the application here, I've got application web browser, this one. I've got another policy which is just above that, and it says application any, and they both doing the same. So users to internet. This is one which I modified. I cloned the first one, okay, and I added just the web browsing. Okay, which one do you think the firewall will pick up? The firewall will pick up the first one because this is more broader than the specific one. That's called shadowing roles. This could cause you a risk sometimes because it will allow something that you're not meant to be allowing. So what you do, you move the one is the most specific, okay, to the top. All right. So this one comes first, and this one comes next. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna basically take that application and I'm gonna move up. So I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna move up. Not on top, but just above this one. So now that most is specific now, it's above basically the one that says any. That's called shadowing roles. Okay, now I'm gonna end here and I'm gonna start next video. If you really liked this video and you thought this is very informative, this is a better way to go deeper, that if you're beyond or behind your certifications, if you want to prove the point, if you want to know basically what is just being defined in PDF, vendor is telling you, and you want to basically go against the vendor, if you want to do your own stuff, if you want to prove the point, if you want to say, for example, that, okay, these are predefined policy, I don't want to allow them, I want to block them completely. Can you really block them? Can you override them? Can you basically say without even allowing or denying, can you deny them all? And you log them? You can do them as well. You can allow them all and you can log them as well to start your policy. But would there be any risk? And why in the first place the vendor is telling us just basically assume and trust these predefined policies because they will automatically allow the same zone? Do we need that or no? What do you think? Let me know your feedback.